This video is brought to you by NordVPN. I have to be honest, it is often very difficult to create a first impressions video when we talk about incremental changes and not just, run through the specs of the tech in question. That is in fact one reason I often refrain from doing such content and usually just jump over to my review as soon as I'm ready so I can actually provide good value. With the new M4 iPad Pros and specifically the 13-inch model, I thought things would be no different. But upon unboxing it, I realized I was wrong. While going through the packages, I was envisioning that the most striking thing I'll probably witness, as with pretty much every other person, is how thin this tablet is. Don't get me wrong, it is insultingly thin, but that wasn't what caught my attention first. The seemingly unimportant thing that caught my attention was the fact that I didn't have a charging brick included in the box, which apparently is yet another Apple versus EU thing. Anyway, what wowed me here was the screen. Now, I'm not new to the iPad and I'm upgrading from the 11-inch M2 model, which doesn't have the mini LED tech that was present only on the largest of models last time. But I didn't expect to witness this level of smoothness. Moving around iPad OS on this giant canvas feels as if I'm sliding my fingers on the steepest water slide, and perhaps because of the Tandem OLED tech and the fast response time, everything was on another level. Things really felt magical. And you know what else feels magical? Subscribing to the channel, because why not? The reason I picked the largest tablet this time around is twofold. First of all, when I change device generations, I always jump around. This helps me stay relevant and allows me to surprise myself each time I do that. Back in the day when I was switching to the 11-inch iPad, I was ecstatic at its portability, and this time I was blown away at the vastness of this canvas. Which of course should be no surprise, yet it was a surprise because officially, at this time, this is the best screen around me. The second reason for this choice of mine is the fact that I'm about to put this tablet head-to-head to my beloved M3 13-inch MacBook Air, which I raved about in my last video, which I'll link at the end of this one. You see, for the first time, these two devices are actually comparable when it comes to size and weight, where the Air weighs at 1,237 grams and the entire M4 13-inch iPad combo with the Magic Keyboard and the Pencil Pro lies at 1,255. Taking away the Pencil out of the equation, this giant iPad alongside the Magic Keyboard is actually a gram lighter than the Air, which was never the case, as the old combo was 1,400 grams. Before you jump in the comment section about the price difference between the iPad and the Air, I know I'll take everything into consideration when the time comes. Upon setting up the iPad, the first thing I did was to play a movie trailer to give this gorgeous display a shot, as well as to listen to the new rounder speakers on the outside. To be honest, I wasn't blown away by the sound the quad speakers deliver, but then again, I was never impressed by anything portable past the 16-inch MacBook Pro. In all fairness, they sound reasonably loud and clear, but I was indeed hoping for some more, thump. I have to say, the audio separation from those speakers is truly amazing, and it is something very hard to convey on camera. Perhaps the only real competitor for this iPad is the Samsung Tab S9 Ultra, which you can check out in my review below. As with all my devices on the iPad, I've installed NordVPN and placed their widget, which allows me to turn on my privacy protection easily. Aside from the obvious perks of accessing region-restricted streaming content, I rely on NordVPN to safeguard my personal data. By encrypting the connection, NordVPN hides my activity and IP address from prying eyes and keeps my data safe, and by safe, I mean no-log VPN safe, meaning NordVPN doesn't collect or log traffic that passes through its servers. Setting up NordVPN on all my devices was incredibly easy, and the interface, widgets, and device availability are greatly appreciated. With unlimited data, thousands of servers worldwide, and modern protocols, I get the best internet experience without interruptions. On top of that, I get to enjoy an amazing feature called MeshNet, which allows me to access my other devices no matter where they are and share files between them. So go to nordvpn.com/thisise or use my code ThisIsE and get a 2-year NordVPN plan plus 4 months extra. It's risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. The way I began experiencing the M4 iPad was as a laptop replacement, which, as you can guess, meant being glued to the new Magic Keyboard for the most part. All that before I actually remembered to pay attention to the new Apple Pencil Pro, which I'll get to in a second. While watching the coverage of my favorite creators covering the iPad, I was really struggling to find out what this keyboard was actually made of, and I'm talking about all around. I mean, I knew it was aluminum on the inside, but what was the material on the outside? Well, now I know. The best way to describe it on the inside is like this. Imagine the aluminum metal feel on the inside of the MacBook Air with the key travel and experience of the Apple Magic Keyboard. It feels exactly the same, yet different from the MacBook Air. On the outside, this is the plastic rubber experience that we all came to love or hate from the previous generations, except for the exposed metal hinge that also holds the charging port. I know for a fact that I'll be putting a deep brand skin on the keyboard, as I've done that with my previous devices, so I don't have to worry about fingerprints, smudges, or scratches. As for the exposed metal on the hinge, I know some people were complaining about this thing potentially scratching, but it is no different than having to deal with a MacBook, so it's not a big deal. Or so I thought. You see, opening the MacBook and the Air requires one hand and a single finger. With the iPad and the Magic Keyboard, however, things are very different, as it is not something you can open as a MacBook. In fact, it is impossible to try to do this one-handed. I didn't honestly realize that until a friend of mine pointed it out to me, that the natural way to open the iPad with the Magic Keyboard, even in the past, was to rest it on the now exposed charging port strip and really try to unhinge the strong magnet latch before you place it on a surface. On many occasions, this will result in surface scratches unless you do that exercise on, let's say, your leg or something soft like a desk pad. You might have noticed that I picked the silver iPad with the dark keyboard color, and you might be wondering why. Well, it wasn't much of a choice, to be honest, given how hot these products are, but I've done this Oreo sandwich combo in the past and I really loved it, so I was actually pumped I ended up with it. I picked the baseline M4, which is just like my MacBook Air, and I'll report on its performance as time goes by, although this being an iPad, I doubt there'll be any reason for you to be concerned at all unless we talk about the software, but that's not the purpose of this video. At this point in my initial experience, Jerry Rig Everything had posted his 13-inch iPad Pro torture test, which snapped the iPad in half, but vertically, which made me feel a whiff of relief and allowed me to continue forward with my observations. The next one being how different this combo shuts down and how top-heavy it is. Closing the iPad with a Magic Keyboard now feels very much like snapping shut my Z Fold 5 or the OnePlus Open from the past, providing a very satisfying experience, similar to a German saloon car door shutting sound mixed with a bit of a pleasurable magnetic resistance upon opening it. Now, whenever you're done working with your iPad, I strongly recommend placing it down closed and not open, because it is now very much top heavy, and in many situations, especially when we talk about soft surfaces, if you end up placing it near a corner or something, you might end up dropping it and dealing with a very costly repair. As for the top-heavy experience, this all came from the fact that the Magic Keyboard is now thinner and much lighter. That, in combination with the iPad being able to now lean further back, meant that the laws of physics have nothing to do with this design decision, which, by the way, solved my only gripe with the older generations of the keyboards. I can finally see the screen ideally, no matter my seating position. I'm not sure if it's just me or the combination of the relocated front-facing camera array and the fact that it's improved, but Face ID now feels blazing fast which gives the iPad experience a laptop wishlist everyone could dream of. Getting in and out of iPad OS and authenticating is like blinking and missing a magician's entire act. Super silky and smooth. Interestingly, when I was running some tests on the front-facing camera of both the M2 and the M4 iPads, the quality was abysmal, but when I run it through FaceTime, things look way better, especially on the new tablet, because on the old one I have to look somewhere over here on the side so I don't look like a total savage in a meeting, while on the new one things are very much natural. Now, do I wish for a better camera? Absolutely. The one on the iPhone is miles better, but the microphones on the new tablet should be very much improved. And actually, you tell me in the description below or in the comments below, how does it sound? Is it good? Could it be better? I haven't done any adjustments to the microphone quality aside from raising up the volume so you can hear it. So yeah. With the help of the new Tandem OLED tech, I no longer saw any spill when the picture contrasted with the inky blacks, but what really impressed me was how effortless it was to work on this massive and a very reflective screen while enjoying the bright spring sunlight, something that unfortunately MacBook Air really struggles with. On my very first day of setting up the tablet, I was quickly reminded by the existence of the escape key and the fact that the entire function row on the Magic Keyboard is actually there. That's not new to me, having tested plenty of third-party accessories over the years, yet very rewarding. Now, the escape key is pretty much useless on many occasions because after all, this is iPad OS. Unless you escape from a photo in the gallery, for example, you'll find few other reasons to press it, but what I find more use of is the App Cards button and the lock button, believe it or not. Oh, and of course the media and brightness controls. The Apple Pencil Pro feels very much like the previous iPad Pencil generations until you start squeezing it. That sounds funny, but I think that's the biggest leap forward because as impressive as barrel roll is, it is reserved for the real artists out there. For mere mortals, the squeeze can open more doors, especially when knowing that you can actually customize it. And get this, map a squeeze to a shortcut. To give you an example, in the Shortcut app, we have created a simple shortcut that opens the Freeform app. With that shortcut created, in the Settings app, I'll go under the Apple Pencil and I'll choose to map the squeeze feature to a shortcut. And there it is. Now you can choose any shortcut you have in mind for that purpose. And now, when we detach the pencil and squeeze it, boom, we open Freeform, and that's just awesome. So having replaced my 13-inch baseline Air with the iPad for the sake of experimenting reminded me of some annoyances when trying to use the tablet as a laptop replacement. One of the biggest being the app handling situation, which is identical to the iPhone. Everything remains open all the times unless you invest in swiping and killing applications to keep only the ones you actually care about and you want to easily swap between. Of course, this has nothing to do with the hardware and everything to do with iPad OS, which I have really high hopes for come WWDC. My goal for now is to utilize this 13-inch beast and put it through its paces as my one and only machine, except when it comes to video editing. My last year's desk setup guide was a smash hit, so using it in such scenario is in the books as well. I also want to spend some time playing with some decent game titles and really have the opportunity to witness the overall performance of this 8GB version, so I'm sure I'll have a lot more to report about soon. If you enjoyed this video, then you should definitely check out my recent favorite iPad accessories episode here, which provides an ideal range of cool stuff that work perfectly with these new iPad models like this portable laptop desk. Like and subscribe to the channel as well as my newsletter, and as always, it's been an absolute pleasure. This is Z, over and out.